I tell people, it's like, yo, you want comments? You want 10 comments? Go give 50. And look, not everybody's that way, because I've had people who like never give back, and eventually I stop engaging with them. But what happens is like algorithms always change, right? LinkedIn algorithm when I started is different, and it
it's totally different. I mean, it's
But one of the reasons I've been sort of algorithm proof is that I built community, and no matter what platform you're on, if you truly build a strong community, it doesn't matter if algorithms change. If you have a strong community and you create good content, you'll survive. So that's why oh, my things have gone down. And I'm like, yo, I'm all right, because I'm still being consistent. So many times people are told, oh, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. But I always tell people, look, you gotta be what's right for you. So many people are like, oh, go learn how to code. Oh, go learn how to do this. Go learn how to do that. And I was like, yo, listen to other people's story and look at the work. Because your episode was like, yo, you were doing IT.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hey. And I want people to actually listen to that, because it's like there's no one route that's right for you. I always tell people everybody has a different road in life.
Right.
And you can't travel on someone else's road.
Right.
And your road is going to be curvy, twisty. It's not just like this. But it has to be your road. And it's like, I tell people, listen to other people's story to figure out what's right for you.
Maybe you don't have a degree and you're wondering, hey, what are the options? How do I get my dream job? What does that even look like? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur trying to grow your business and you're wondering about, how do I grow on social, especially LinkedIn? What are the strategies and what are the ways that it's going to get me to that next level? Maybe you're thinking about, hey, I'm trying to grow my personal brand, and how do I do that? Well, one of these amazing guests that I have on here today is Junaid Iqbal, and he is incredible human being. He's already written well over 300 plus resumes for others that actually have landed jobs. He also had a business that was doing 6-figure months, and he was able to actually start the business of nodegree.com. And now he is a legend on LinkedIn, well over 45,000 followers on LinkedIn. People know him for community. People know him for growing that LinkedIn audience. But not only that, he actually connects in real life with people, and he does amazing things. He's a speaker. He's a business owner, all around great guy. So if you're trying to actually land your dream job, trying to figure out what do you need on that resume, maybe you don't have a degree and you're struggling right now to figure out your path, and you want to know, what are the secrets? What are things that actually can help me? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur trying to grow your personal brand and trying to grow on LinkedIn. How do you get to 45,000 followers? I mean, it's absolutely incredible, but even more so than the followers, he's a great human being, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this one. So on next up is Junaid Iqbal on the Forever Podcast. Man, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. Really appreciate it. Got my man Junaid in the building, man. What's up?
What's up? You know, it's crazy. We did not expect this to happen today. No. I just wanted to see you. And then you said podcast. I actually wanted to be on your podcast for a while. It just timing, right? I'm not in Milwaukee like that. So that's the power of connection. It's just saying what's up.
And when you hit me, I mean, I gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to. So, dude, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast, man. We've been kicking it for a minute. I always love to have a story about like how we met.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, Travis's BeastX event and what that meant for you just to be a part of that.
Yeah. So to go back,
there
was this LinkedIn creator event in Denver. One of our friends, Travis.
Yeah. Shout out Travis.
Chose me as a speaker. And funny enough, I had the smallest amount of followers, whatever.
Yeah.
And you were the MC, and that's where we met. And I was like, yo, this is what I'm trying to do. And you're like, yo, I'm doing an event. And I was like, yo, let me know. I could sleep on a couch. I want to get more speaking engagements, For me, it's like, I want to get myself out there. And then there was a spot.
Yeah.
And I have a friend in Milwaukee.
Right.
So it was one of those things. I was like, yo, let's do it. And then, I used those photos for
Dude, I
so
keep
many
seeing
things.
you use the photos, man. I'm like, dude, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the.
Yeah. People like that photo.
It's a good photo.
Yeah.
It's a
Funny
good
enough,
photo.
there was a water bottle in that photo, and my friend removed it
Cropped
through
it out.
Adobe generative AI. So it just looks like this is legit.
Remove this water bottle here.
Yeah, no, but I like Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a cool city. Got some good culture.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. And for the event, for everybody that was Lead the Movement business conference that we had last year, and Janai just like he crushed it. He crushed it. I mean, it was really good. Had a really like just all the speakers there were amazing. And the fact that we went from like the Denver thing to the Milwaukee thing, and now we're about to do some stuff in New York. Just super exciting, man. Like just that's the power of like LinkedIn connection. But like I just was telling somebody today, I'm like, it's one thing to build a community and some stuff on LinkedIn, but you got to take it off LinkedIn if you actually want to get real results from it, right? What has that experience been like for you to use the power of LinkedIn to like help build your business with nodegree.com, but also how do you build it offline? Take it out of the chats, out of the comments in real life.
So I always say that online is a starting point.
Yeah.
That you see a lot of people online, you're like, I like what they're doing. And then you see them show up in different ways. And one thing I like about like LinkedIn is you get to see where everyone's at. So when I'm visiting a city, Milwaukee, I'll just go down and I'll be like, who's here? And they'll be like, what's up? I'm visiting on this day. And it always leads to good things.
Dude, it crushed. So first of all, Jediah, you're dropping a gem right now. Because I was telling people, anytime I hit a city, I search, I do a go on the search on the top, and I just type in the city. Anybody I'm connected to that's in that city. I don't know how we got connected. Who knows? You might have been following me. I have no clue. But I go and message every single person and say, I'm in town from this time to this time. Let's link up. Let's link up. I don't know what they do.
Yep.
But who cares?
Yep.
Something can come from it. Obviously, you're connected for some reason. They found some interest. There's some mutual beneficial thing. So how has that been for you when you hit cities like that and you do that? Like, what are the results for that?
Man, you just meet so many friends.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is since I live in New York City, most people stop by New York City for a vacation, a business trip. So when they're in New York City, they hit me up. And the very nice thing is I pretty much have an airport pickup in every city. And I do the same for my connection. I'm like, let me know when you're in. I'll take care of you. And you really see how global an online community can be. That I'm in Milwaukee because I'm going to go to Chicago tomorrow for an event held by my friend in Australia. And we do audio events the whole time. And it's crazy. He's doing this big event. And he still is like, Janai, you're my first media thing. He was on a LinkedIn Live, and he still credits it. And it's like, you just meet such great people. Because one thing about when you have your own business, right, you do it. Yeah. The funny thing is, your online friends will support you more than your actual friends.
Dude, say that.
And it's something that I wish I knew earlier.
Again, bro.
So it's something that if you're starting a business, and look, real friends, and it's just sometimes that's the role that they play. And I find that online friends that you share a certain space, which is that online medium, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and they're on there for similar things. So they're kind of doing their thing and they're supporting you, you're supporting them, and it leads to a lot of great things.
Yeah, man. Seriously, like it's just so important though to build those separate communities. You need that support system on both sides. You need your core friends and family that are going to be there for you for almost like a different emotional support. And then you need that online community, the people that you're connected to, because they'll support you, your business, your dreams, your aspirations, what you got to do. And they also just get it. I don't know. There's like a thing where they're just connected and they get it. And you don't have to explain too much. Like, hey, you don't got to explain the whole thing. What do you need, man? I got you.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes real friends that you know in real life and on Facebook, they're like, oh, yeah, I see you podcast. And I'm like, that's not a podcast. That's a Facebook Live. That's not a podcast. But, I don't get into that. I'm like, this is what I do and all that. But online people get it because they know that starting a business is not easy. And oftentimes, you do it on the side while you have your main job. And eventually a point comes where it's like, I got to take this leap. Yeah. And it's tough that people think by watching TikToks and Instagrams and YouTube, they think like, you just make like 10, 20, 30,000 a month. And that's how it is. And people don't realize like, maybe you hit that and you could make zero the next month. You could lose 5,000 the next month.
Right.
And you could have businesses like I've had a business that we hit $1 million in revenue. We're making like 30 to 70K a month.
Yeah.
And we had 100K a month. Now I had partners who had to split it, and then we lost like 95% of that revenue. And it is the ups and downs. I think one thing about going in things for yourself, whether you're a creator, an entrepreneur, or you're both, you'll have the highest highs and you'll have the lowest lows.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
And a lot of people just think like they think when you have your own business that you're just chilling.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Jabbar, oh yeah, he could just.
Or there's like a gradual, it just goes up and it doesn't do this.
No, it's just like this, and boom,
and then plummet. Boom, I'm on the come up. Because like it's always changing. Yep. It's always changing. And so for entrepreneurship, so like how did you get into it for what you're doing today, and why nodegree.com? Like why is that? Why do you have a passion for people that don't have a degree trying to navigate and figure out their career?
Yeah, I was always a hustler, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember even as a kid, I was like, yo, what if I could sell ice? And then I was like, that's not going to work. Right? They sell ice for like $2 at the supermarket. I can't
sell ice to an Eskimo?
Yeah. I was like, yo, in the summer I could sell ice and all that. So I always thought of different things. I like flip things. I think I like flip phones.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a lot. I think I like tutored for money because I want to, have fresh sneakers in school.
Yeah.
And then I did it. I was like, I'll tutor, and then my other friends would work, and they would like instead of buying 2 shoes, we could have 6 shoes.
Yeah.
Like, you have 2, I have 2, and we could split, and then we go to different schools so nobody knows.
That's
right?
crazy.
And I just did different things, and I worked at Popeyes. I worked at like Barnes and Nobles in the cafe. And I was always reading about entrepreneurship, right? So I used to tutor in college because my parents, we were all right, but they never really gave me money like that.
Okay.
I think even if we had money, my dad wouldn't give me money. He's like one of those dads. He would not. So,
I feel like our dads are the same in that because my dad, he's kind of not a hoarder of money, but he's not. He's very frugal with his money, man. Like, he'll hold on to it like, what was that? The Scrooge?
Yeah. No, my dad's just an immigrant dad, just stoic immigrant dad.
Yeah.
But I was always reading. I was always thinking about, like, what can I do? Because I always thought, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. And 10 years ago, it'll be 10 years in August, someone asked, for those of you without a college degree, what do you do, and how'd you get the job? And then the comments were like, I'm a claims adjuster, I'm a database administrator, I work in IT, I'm elevator repair. And it was like, how'd you get the job? It was like, yo, my cousin, my uncle, my friend, my neighbor, my teacher. And it was all the right place at the right time. Like, oh, this guy was retiring, he liked me, he saw I was a good kid, and that's where I learned how to do machinery, this retrofitting some parts or whatever. And then I was like, yo, what if you don't have that uncle, cousin, or friend? What do you do? And funny enough, I was getting my master at Columbia. I was interning, and I was like, let me search up trades.com. I was like, it was available, but they're going to ask at least 100K, 6 figures. And now it's probably like several million, right? Trades.com.
Oh, man.
So I put in nodegree.com. I was like, what about no degree? And I filled out a form. And then a few days later, someone sent an email. I think I missed that one. And then they was like, yo, we'll sell it to you for like $1,800 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I called some of my buddies. And I think 2 of them, one of them was like, oh, okay. He wasn't really into it. 2 of them answered. And I was like, yo, we'll split it. Like, yo, 500 each. We'll split it. We'll just make a blog and be rich,
Be rich.
That's it. Just be rich, And we negotiated down to like 1,500, whatever, something like that. And I was like, yo, I want to really make a site because so many people don't know about these careers.
Right.
And I come across so many people who work retail jobs, right? And they make minimum wage and they're hard workers because that's all they know. They don't know how to get these opportunities. So I was like, first, you have to know about these opportunities. And then you have to have a roadmap of how do I become a welder? How do I become a plumber?
Right.
Where do I go? What certifications do I need? What courses do I need to take? And we bought it. I spent years. This is like 2014. I spent years just reading. I was upskilling. I was working on my public speaking. And I was like, yo, it'll be a job website. Because what happens is you don't have a degree, you go to a job, it's like must have degree, must have this
Yeah,
bachelor's
every
degree.
single one.
So now it's like at least you won't get limited because of that.
Yeah.
And I think one time I tried to get funding, but they pulled out. You know how it is. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have revenue and stuff. I was
Yep.
like, you guys kind of knew that before, but I was like, you know how it is. And then I just was like, yo, you know what? I want to stay bootstrapped. Because the issue is you get funding, there are other things you run into,
Yeah.
and you've heard of so many people get funding
Yeah.
and they kind of lose their company.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of nonprofit work. I do a lot of free work
Yeah.
and partnerships. And VCs are like, yo, what's that?
Yeah,
Where's the
yeah,
ROI?
yeah.
So it's like for me, it's like, yeah, I want to get wealthy, I want to get rich, but I want to do it in a way that I don't lose sight of the company. Because so many companies, once they raise money, they lose sight of the original mission, and that's not something I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, man. And so and now where is nodegree.com? Where's that now?
So it says 10 years to become an overnight success.
Only 10 years,
only
that's
10.
it?
I'm still working at it. It's just like when you have a business, I had some partners come and go.
Yeah.
You learn a
Oh, I
lot because
know.
it was my first business, and it was like I was all in, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's like not everyone was on the same page. I wish I had those tough conversations. We're in a good spot
Yeah.
because I'm like almost at 44,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I'm like 13K on Twitter. And, now I'm focused on Instagram and TikTok and some YouTube shorts, and you just passed like 1,200 subs. So that's cool.
Nice.
But we still have a long way to go, right?
Yeah.
And I've got 300 recommendations on my LinkedIn profile. So I just passed that. So that's cool. So
Sweet.
we've really, I've written over 700 resumes. So I've really learned a lot about careers. And we're looking for partnerships, with companies. We're getting into recruiting a little more and just higher sources of revenue because we're just going to pump that money back into content, back into growing the company, back into marketing.
So is a long-term play to really just blow up the name nodegree.com?
Yeah.
So that way people know it's that number one destination. If you don't got a degree, you go here.
So my end goal is to compete with like Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, and all that, because a lot of these sites, their execs don't know how it is for people without degrees. Funny enough, LinkedIn CEO does not have a degree, but a lot of people who work at LinkedIn have degrees.
Yeah.
Right? It's just they don't know how to cater to this demographic, because one of the number one search terms in the US is actually warehouse jobs. That's the number one search term. Because think about it, if you're not in a big city,
Yeah.
you're in a small city, what do you do? Like after high
Warehouse.
school, if you don't go to college, you're going to go to warehouse. So I really want to increase education, because a lot of times, a lot of these sites have blogs, but they're hidden. Like their focus is on employers. It's not focused on people. So that's why it's like I have the podcast, the No Degree podcast, where you were a guest and you shared your stories.
Yep.
And for me, it's like I want to go down the route of a media company, where it's like you got the job, then you got the podcast, you got the YouTube channels, you got the social, and it's really just education. You come in and it's your one-stop shop of like, yo, here are the resources, here's what you can do. And I try to do it in a way where it's like I can be authentic, because so many websites, they just partner with boot camps and then they make their money off the boot camps. And not that I'm opposed to that, but some of these boot camps are not good.
Right.
So all they do is just push these boot camps that cost like $5K,
Yeah.
and they get their kickback of like whatever, 500, 1,000.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that if I promote something, even if I make money, it has to be something
That's gonna work.
that's gonna work, because you've seen so many people fall into just things that's like, yo, you're getting ripped off, man.
Yeah. That's dope. I love the long-term vision, man.
Yeah.
It's good to have big, ambitious goals. Hey, the one thing is you got that domain, so
I got lucky, man.
no one can take that away from you.
I got lucky. Yo, I got nodegree.com. I got somedegree.com.
Okay.
And then I got wrongdegree.com.
Wrongdegree.com.
Yeah. So I want to launch the Wrong Degree podcast, where you interview people with degrees who's like, yo, I should not have majored in biology.
I totally think too with the media side, like you totally have an apparel play though.
Yeah. You know what?
Like
that's what I want to do, because so think about it. If you go to college, right? You have a hoodie, whatever, Harvard, whatever. They have all these hoodies, right? And what if you don't go to college? What's your college hoodie?
Right.
So now I think like 40% of people go to college. Like that. So they have hoodies. What about the rest of the 60%?
Right.
I want to take that. So that's like the end
play.
Where
you
it's like
could get that too, man. You should get that. What would be if you had to come up with a marketing scheme to get people to wear No Degree hoodies? What would it be? Do you park that joint outside the schools?
You know what?
You know,
Go to construction sites.
construction
No
sites.
degree
Yeah.
plumbing, no degree HVAC, no degree, no loans,
Okay, can
no
fix it
degree
up.
money. Like, dude, I got the whole thing. Got the hats, you know, the ND.
Yep.
Got the hats and all that stuff. And you know, it's interesting. People be like, "Yo, what's that?" Like, "Oh yeah, I like that." They always ask about the hat.
Yeah. Dude. I like that though. Like you go to the places where people would traditionally have no degree, but there's a lot of people that don't have a degree that are also
Yeah.
in the same mix with people that have
Yep.
degrees. So, um, and I also think about changing the narrative of you should be proud
Yeah.
of the accomplishments and the direction of where you can go with not having a degree. Because
Yeah.
I feel like there is a level of almost some people like shame or
Yep.
like, hey, I don't have a degree, so like maybe I'm not qualified to
Yep.
talk about a certain topic or a
Yeah.
position's not for me.
You know what's crazy? Like sometimes I ask someone, she actually worked at Adobe. I was like, "Yo, you want to come on my podcast?" She's like, "Yo, nobody knows I don't have a degree."
Ah,
And she's like, "Yo, I'm not ready for it." And it kind of makes me sad, man. Like I
see
understand.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't
Yeah.
want people to know,
Yeah.
even if you have some success, and really like if people know, it's I mean, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. And
You
I
landed the
think now,
job.
yeah. And now more people are open to it. You know, more
Yeah.
people are doing it as a badge of honor, and then more companies are saying like, "Yo, if you're dope,
Yeah.
you got experience. Like, come on. Like that's a minor thing."
Yeah. I mean, I just worked harder
Yeah.
than a lot of people, and I'm a bookworm.
Yeah.
Like I will sit and study and do my own research and my own due diligence on a particular topic, and I'll just like become really
Yeah.
ingrained in it. And then while the people that got the degree, they stopped learning after they
Yeah.
got the degree.
Yep. You know, I think
You
something
know?
like 40% of people, it's a huge percentage of people never read a book after they go to college.
Right.
Right. And, you know, just because there's no degree, it doesn't mean like no books, no
Yeah.
education, no learning.
Yeah.
It's like I'm pro education, I'm pro learning. I just think that there's different mediums for different people.
There's
right.
different
Like
ways, man.
some people read, some people listen to podcasts, some people watch YouTube. And at the end of the day, as long as you can apply it,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. It totally doesn't matter. And the funny thing is too about this topic is just so interesting to me because I do believe in the next like 20 years because it's already starting to change. So
Yeah.
so because of YouTube,
Yeah.
people get YouTube University. So because of YouTube, education and knowledge is so readily available.
Yeah.
And it's getting really good. Like people will put full courses
Yeah.
out on YouTube for free
Yep.
that you can learn all types of stuff, trades. You can go into industrial things. You can go into computer science. I mean,
Yeah.
you can literally learn how to code
Yeah.
through YouTube University, go through a boot camp to, basically quiz you.
Yeah.
And you can get approved for a job.
Yeah.
Through that without going to college. So I think in the next 20 years, there's going to be a huge shift, man.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely already happening, but you don't necessarily need the degree to get the job. And I think also employers are I've seen them start to remove that barrier.
Or they say or equivalent experience.
Yes, or equivalent experience. So it's like it's slow. I mean, it's very slow, but it's like it's slowly starting to turn on its head of where it's going. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, no, because remember, it's like people are like, oh wow. I was like, yo, I thought of this in 2014.
Yeah.
And I saw the trend. So it's nice to see all these articles. And the funny thing is, even for kids who go to college, like a lot of people who major in comp sci, how do they learn? They learn from Indian guys on YouTube. Like they're famous, a couple of Indian guys that they watch on YouTube, and that's where they get it. And a lot of people, like when they go to college, they're learning off forums because like the professors given a book, they're reading off the slides, and they're studying off these other things. And even there are a lot of free courses and even some paid courses.
Yeah.
There's some great paid courses, some of them a couple $100, some of them a few thousand, and you get some really sharp knowledge, right? Like if you want to do a photography business, you're not going to learn really that much in college. You may have to go to like a mastermind where people really share like, yo, this is how I did my business.
Especially for media. Because the stuff in college, I mean, trust me, I've had people, we've had previous employees that have worked for us. We've had interns that maybe they just graduated, and dude, I don't know what they're teaching, but it's a lot of times it's about the history.
Yeah.
And they got outdated equipment in these schools, and by the time they get out of there and then actually go for a job, They're like, oh, I don't know how to operate these cameras.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how to deal with the situation with the client actually in the room and how to articulate, what we're doing and, like actually direct an actual shoot. So there's just so many things they're missing also within that. And so, but you're going to learn that through a mastermind, through a boot camp, through free content on YouTube. Like you're going to learn a lot of like actual business owners that will tell you like, here's how you get a client. Here's how you do a proper photo shoot. Here's how it's like, it's just crazy, man. It's all changing. It's all changing. I just wish that when I was growing up, it was this readily available, like, I mean, definitely YouTube was just starting to go and like, but it wasn't as like, dude, it's just so easy.
Yeah. Now it's like, from your phone, people shoot on their phone. You know, it's crazy. Like my nephew, like I got a camera and then I was like, yo, he started really getting into it. And then I was like, yo, I'll get you a course or something. You gotta, do you know this? He's like, yeah, I already know that. He's like, you gotta change the setting, you gotta do that. And so, he like takes photographs and he's like getting really good. And then I told him, I was like, yo, I got this event on Sunday. I was like, yo, can you come by? He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, yo, we'll have one on the tripod video. And I was like, yo, you know what? You have your camera, bring mine. And I was like, yo, you could put one lens on mine and a fixed lens. And he was like, yo, I was like, yo, why don't you send me the harness thing that to buy? And he sent me that. I was like, yo, I'll buy it for you. It's just about, at the end of the day, it's like, you just got to have that mentality of like, yo, I'm going to go and get it. I'm going to do things. And I'm going to figure it out. And I think that's a mentality. You don't need school for that mentality.
Yeah. For sure. You got it. You got to be a hustler. You got to have like, I'm going to figure this out and you just got to work it, man. You got to work with what you have and like possibilities are endless too. And like the opportunities are out there, but you got to be willing to go grab it. 100%. So I think as people view you, especially on LinkedIn, they may see a lot of the content that you put out. And you said, and like you said before, you're a media guy as well. Like you're really pushing media, creating these environments where you're doing the LinkedIn audio stuff. You got events, podcasting, videos on YouTube. Like you're pushing a lot of content. If you could just, first of all, why is content important to you? And the second thing is, how did you grow on LinkedIn? So we have a lot of listeners that are entrepreneurs, executives that are trying to grow on LinkedIn in particular, and they're maybe finding it a little bit challenging, how to grow on there. So what's worked for you, and then why is content important?
So this has worked for me on multiple platforms. This works a little more on text-based platforms than video-based platforms. But when I started on LinkedIn, and I started in... was it 2018? No, I started 2019. So it's been 5.5 years. So February 2019. I was on Quora first. And I was like, yo, let me answer some questions.
That's the question answer thing. Yeah.
And then I was like, your headline will get out. But I was like, yo, these dudes come up with crazy answers like 2 minutes after the question. I was like, I can't compete. This is like wild. So then I was like, yo, let me try LinkedIn. Because I was like, yo, when I comment, my headline is there, my face is there. So I was like, they'll see, every time I comment, someone will see nodegree.com. I was like, yo, let me comment 100 times a day. And I've always been about community. So I would just comment 100 times a day. I checked
100 times a day. So you're commenting on 100 people's posts a day.
And it wasn't just like, thanks, amazing, cool. I would put like a sentence or two. And it's crazy. I checked a couple months ago. You could do an export of your data. I have over 100,000 comments on LinkedIn. And I toned it down, but it's like, yo, so I used to do 100 comments a day. I don't do it for months. And then when I did a post, yo, I got like 30K views. I mean, now it's tougher. But yo, let's say, when I started and someone did an analysis, Sam Swirsky did an analysis, and I was one of the fastest creators to get to like 100 likes on a post because I was just commenting. So then when I posted, people were like, yo, that's Junaid, let me support him and all that. And I had a unique style. I try to mix it up. I try to be funny. And let's say I got 10 likes. Man, I would go to each of those 10 likes. I would like 2 to 3 of their posts. And if I got 3 comments, I'd go leave like 2 to 3 comments in their posts.
So you were in it.
Yeah.
So you're not a posting ghost.
No. Because it's like, yo, I see so many people and they're like, yo, I've been posting. I've been doing everything right. It's like, you got 3 comments. You couldn't answer 3 comments. I get it if you get like 20, 30, 50.
Yeah. If you get
stuff.
a ton of them.
But if you get nothing and you're not even engaging with those people who got your back, how do you expect to grow? Unless your content's so phenomenal that you can get away with it. But LinkedIn is a networking platform. And that's what people don't get. It's these other platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. They're not networking you can use them to network, but they're not networking platforms first.
Right.
LinkedIn is a networking platform first. So I was like, yo, why wouldn't you want to talk to them? Why wouldn't you want to build relationships?
Yeah.
Because, when I see your stuff, I know you. I'm going to always comment. Even if I don't got time, I'm going to put emojis or I'm going to put something there just to be like, yo, because if I comment on your stuff, I'm going to help Jamar go far. I like what Jamar's about. And then the same thing, I know when you see my stuff, you're like, yo, Janai's there. Let me go promote him. It's like, yo, he's doing cool things. And that's what leads to collaboration.
Yeah, there's a psychology around it. Like the fact, because a lot of times people, when they're trying to promote on LinkedIn in particular, they're trying to figure out the algorithm, trying to post, craft the perfect post. But and there is a science to that. There is like, you got to have your hook and it's got to be engaging, but it's interesting that you're going more the community route.
Yep.
And then knowing that, because I notice it, like when you comment on there, I mean, it's almost every post. I mean, you're like, hey, you're dropping something. And in my mind, then when I see yours, I'm like, well, I can't just pass this on. Like I gotta engage in some way, shape, or form. So it's a psychology of like, well, this person's giving so much.
Yep.
I gotta swing through.
What I tell people is like, yo, you want comments? You want 10 comments? Go give 50. And look, not everybody's that way, because I've had people who like never give back, and eventually I stop engaging with them. But what happens is like algorithms always change, right? LinkedIn algorithm when I started is different, and it changes
it's totally different. I mean, it's
But one of the reasons I've been sort of algorithm proof is that I built community, and no matter what platform you're on, if you truly build a strong community, it doesn't matter if algorithms change. If you have a strong community and you create good content, you'll survive. So that's why people are like, oh, my things have gone down. And I'm like, yo, I'm all right. Because I'm still being consistent and I understand.
And you've always been about community, man. Ever since I've known you, and especially getting deeper into your world, like people really do love you, man. Like they got this like, they're like, yo, Janai's the boy. Like when they see you, and they always have like a deeper connection to you than just like, hey, I seen him at a couple places. They either have some backstory or some like inside joke or some real things.
Yeah, because you see the stuff I do on LinkedIn. Yeah. But then people don't see the DMs. People don't see the stuff in person. There's a lot of stuff like I don't even post just because it's like I'm busy, right?
Right.
And like people don't realize like people like me because I like them too.
Right.
I generally like people, and people are supportive, and I try to uplift the people around me because I'm always about a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of networking advice I don't like, how they say it's like you're the average of the 5 people around you. And it's always like, oh, if you want to be rich, go hang out with 5 rich people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if you're not rich and you want to be rich, they're saying go hang out with 5 rich people. But why would those people hang out with you? By that logic, you're bringing them down. So I've always been of the logic of like, you got to network with people at all levels, people where you want to be, people where you are at, and people who are sort of, where you were at before, and you want to start lifting everyone up. And it's like, if I lift you up, then you get opportunities and you pass them on to me, then I lift up, I pass them on to you, right? Where it's like, yo, I got a guest recommendation for you. And I think too many people don't give enough. And I think that's what it's about. It's like, you really, like, you get an opportunity, you start learning, pass it on, right? If it's not right for you, pass it on. And I've always tried my best to do that.
That's super dope, man. Such good advice. I mean, for everybody listening and watching, like, it's just incredible advice to do. It's very tactical, but it's all about giving back. Give before you're like, hey, give me some stuff. And I know already, I can already see it. Somebody's going to say, well, Jamar and Janai, I don't have the time to comment 100 comments a day.
Do 10. Do 5.
So how do you do it though? Is it that you just tell yourself, no matter what, I'm making these 100 comments, I don't care what happens in my day? Or do you like, how are you doing it? Because I know that's the counter argument. The thing is like, well, I don't have all that time to sit and comment.
So look, I get 100 is like excessive. So that's if you want fast growth and all that stuff. But I tell people, why don't you do 10?
Yeah.
I don't do 100 comments anymore. I would love to. I'm just really busy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just hard keeping track of
But
things.
just starting out,
yeah.
you did 100 comments.
Yeah.
Just like when I did this thing where I was doing 100 interactions a day.
Yeah.
So like emails, texts, phone calls, but I would not go to bed.
Yeah.
Until those 100 interactions, till I touched 100 people when I was first starting my business.
Yeah.
If you want to grow, it's a numbers game. You have to put the numbers in.
There's no way around it. And what I always tell people is like, do what you can.
Yeah.
And look, if you can't do anything, then I don't know how you're going to grow anything, right? The fact is, it's like people will look at these YouTube channels and say, oh, I could do that. And it's like, yo, most of the time it took time for them to get to where they are.
Right.
Like you're not looking at someone who did this. Yeah, there's some who blow up relatively quickly, but most is like
some hits viral and then
like Marquise Brownlee, the tech guy.
Yeah.
Like 2 years he didn't blow up. It was just like practice. I
forgot how many videos he did before like one took off. It was
and then,
crazy.
How do I do the comments? It's like, yo, you're waiting online for fast food. 3 comments.
Yeah.
Oh, someone leaves a meeting early. Someone shows up late. 2 comments. And you don't like you could just slowly sprinkle it out through the day.
Yeah.
And it adds up.
Yeah.
And I think like on Twitter, I would do 100 tweets a day. And tweets mean comments.
Yeah.
And Twitter was easy. It's just fire emojis, 100, so true, cool. Twitter is like a faster pace. You don't need the things. And then, yo, when I tweet, like I tweeted about this, like people will like, yo, they'll retweet, they'll do all that. And it's cool. But I always say, put yourself out there, start building community, because community is the most powerful thing there is. Like if you look at most companies, right, they're trying to build communities.
Yeah.
Right. And they're trying so hard. And I think smaller companies, that's the advantage that they have. That the communities actually feel a lot more authentic. Because it's like, yo, this isn't a big company that solely looks at it for revenue. It's like, yo, they really care about me.
Yeah. That's super interesting, man. Switching gears slightly on, so I feel like you have a great personal brand.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody is striving and trying to reach different heights, but what is your personal brand done for you so far in your career?
Yo, it just gets me into conversations I normally wouldn't be able to get myself into. It gets me opportunity. It gets me clients. It helps me also find the right clients, because if someone's like not trusting me, I'm like, yo, you know what? You're not for me. So it helps me get into great collaborations.
Okay.
That like I have a cool brand, I have a cool podcast, so I'm able to get on other podcasts. I think I got someone who wanted to I got someone to help me get on podcasts, and it's been like a high hit rate because I have the podcast, they see the following, they see all that. So
you have
like
a track record.
Track record. And you got to keep doing it. And it's like eventually I want to get like celebrities and rappers and all that, like the people that I used to watch growing up, and get them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But again, it takes that time. You need to build that track record. And it's like when you get that big interview, you want to make sure, like most people think like, hey, I want my first interview to be big. And it's like, yo, you want that practice. You don't want to fumble that first interview. Right? If you have someone and you want to make sure that you're sharp and that you can share it and all that, because you want to be ready.
Yeah. And do you know that that one lady that blew up out of nowhere, Bobby Atloff or whatever?
Yeah.
Her first guest was like Drake.
Yeah.
How in the world?
You know, her husband was in the industry, so he had some pull, and that's how. But again, if you look at the comments, they're like, "Yo, she's so boring."
Right.
She wasn't a good interviewer, and it's like.
But that was her whole thing, though.
Yeah.
That was the whole stick. It was just like a boring chick that just like that she like doesn't care.
Now what is she even podcasting anymore?
Yeah, she's still podcasting, but now she's doing a bunch of other stuff now, because she's now interviewed some of the biggest names like in the game. You know, especially like no one gets Drake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like not even I didn't even see Shaquille O'Neal like interview Drake. You know, like. All of a sudden, he's like sitting in bed with some chick. like what? It like blew up. I mean, it blew up, went crazy. But it just hit me like when you had said like you don't want your first interview to be like the biggest one yet, because for the most part now her whole thing was like to be boring and just not to care. But for most people, they're actually gonna try. You know, and you, like I tell a lot of people, you need reps.
Yep.
Get your shots up. You know, a lot of the like we try to emulate some of the best people in the world, like the top 1%er podcasts, or maybe it's a famous NBA player that you love to watch. It's like they got their shots up.
Yep.
You know, and so to get to where you're trying to go is like you got to take your shots, get the reps up. And so for your brand, where are you? What's next for you? Like, where are you trying to take it? Obviously you're trying to get on more stages, and do that. But like, where are you trying to take it now?
So I'm really trying to grow on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Okay.
So because I've grown.
Why those platforms? Just
So LinkedIn is very good for business.
Yeah.
I get a lot of clients. I get people paying me, $100 to $200, $300 an hour for like the work that I do, which is cool. Now, for distribution and stuff, the other platforms you can actually get faster growth.
Yeah.
Like LinkedIn actually takes a lot of time if you want to grow quick. Like I know people some people 10 plus hours a day, right?
Yeah.
And now it's much harder than before. So with TikTok, like I've seen people grow like 50K in a month.
Crazy.
But again, you have to do those reps and you get it. And then once you grow that, I have a friend, I think he grew 100,000 Instagram followers in a month or 70K, something crazy. But again, that's possible. On LinkedIn, that's so much harder.
Yeah.
The other thing is LinkedIn is like the ugly cousin of the social media platform. Like they be like, yo, you got followers on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Whereas like, yo, if you said, yo, I got 50K on TikTok, I got 100K on TikTok, it has some sort of brand credibility. And it has crazy reach too. Those platforms because people are more users, more active, and they spend more time. Like I think
more time,
LinkedIn is like a couple minutes a day is like the average, whereas people will be spending hours.
Oh yeah.
And so I want to have multi-channel approach because some people are TikTok people, some people are Instagram, some people are YouTube, and then once you start doing partnerships and once you start repurposing content, it's like, yo, I could put this on TikTok, I could put this on YouTube Shorts, I could put this on main YouTube, I could put this on Instagram. Here's the LinkedIn version, and now it's like when you start to pitch, right, to get these big guests, be like, yo, I got this many followers. It's so much easier. If you say LinkedIn, they be like, yeah, what? Like, what? Like, Method Man's not on LinkedIn, Like, whereas like if you're on YouTube, you're on those other platforms, they'll be like, all right, yo, you know what? Let's talk.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So your focus is to build up those platforms, and just build up an audience, in those for everything pretty much that we talked about for nodegree.com, and just funnel everything into there, and then have an education platform to really inform people and help them out. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, this next segment is brought to you by Visit Milwaukee.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy. What you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coasts. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
What is your first impression of Milwaukee? And what have you also heard about Milwaukee before being here?
Man, I just know it from music videos and Summerfest.
Okay.
Right?
And music videos?
Yeah, just music. I don't know, Milwaukee, right? Yeah, like somewhere that's probably like the only.
Okay,
right?
All right.
So
cool.
From like rap music or something.
Yeah.
That's the only time. But yeah, it was cool, man. I've been to so many cities.
Yeah.
And each city has its own personality. But Milwaukee in summers is nice. Like it's definitely like a nice vibe. I mean, people are friendly. Other than that, it's definitely a place I like visiting. And I find that every city, it's all about the people.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I have a friend in Milwaukee, I'm gonna be there. If I have a friend, like I went to Bentonville, Arkansas.
Right.
My friend's there. He said, let's go. I'll go. So I'm always about the people. So I really like the people in Milwaukee.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And when you were here for the Lead the Movement events, what was just that experience about just being in Milwaukee for those few days? Like,
man, good energy. Good energy, good people just really open, good vibe. And it's nice, and the food is good.
Yeah. We were just talking that it's kind of becoming like a foodie city. You know, like there's actually a lot of like smaller like boutique type places, and which is just really great because it creates for like different types of styles and cultures that will come through here and open up shops and stuff.
We had good pizza. Remember that pizza shop?
Oh yeah.
That was a good pizza.
Yes, there's good pizza, man. There's good Cheese curds. Have you had cheese curds here yet?
Nah, all right.
Oh yeah,
We gotta go after.
that's like a staple. You got to have the cheese curds.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
It's like it's fried cheese, but it's like other people have it on the menu. It's like it's from here, so you can't it's the best stuff. Best stuff here. Right. Well, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. And now after visiting the city for a few times, like, what do you share about Milwaukee to others?
Yo, where did you lead the movement?
That was at the Summerfest grounds, so Henry Mauer Festival Park.
That area is nice.
Yeah, really right on the lake and everything. Yeah.
So I'm from New York City.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get out because I find that all other cities, they're just slower. But it's still cool because it's nice. New York is just like fast. Like, yo, why are you walking so slow? This is that. Truck is going. This, that. Right? Whereas like other cities are like, wow, this is nice.
Yeah.
It's like Ubers are cheaper. So I would say, come to Milwaukee during the summers.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. I mean, summers, even fall is like perfect weather. Okay. Perfect weather, man. It's like, because that was like September, end of September. Yeah, that's when you came there for last year. So
it was nice,
and it was nice, man. I mean, the day before it did rain a little bit, but it was still nice, nice. So no, that's pretty dope, man. So in closing, what's some advice you could give to somebody that let's do two different people because I think you kind of gonna have two different people that you're talking to. So one, the person that has no degree, like what do they need to do? And then the second one is a person that wants to build a personal brand like yourself. What would you advise them to do if they're just starting out?
Okay. So the first, if someone doesn't have a degree, check out the podcast.
Got to.
And you know why? Because I passed 200 episodes recently.
Yeah, congrats.
So because I interview people without college degrees and have them share their story. So here's the thing. So many times people are told, oh, you got to be this, you got to be that. But I always tell people, look, you got to be what's right for you. So many people are like, oh, go learn how to code. Oh, go learn how to do this. Go learn how to do that. And I was like, yo, listen to other people's story and look at the work. Because your episode was like, yo, you were doing IT.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Hey. And I want people to actually listen to that because it's like there's no one route that's right for you. I always tell people everybody has a different road in life.
Right.
And you can't travel on someone else's road.
Right.
And your road is going to be curvy, twisty. It's not just like this, but it has to be your road. And it's like, I tell people, listen to other people's story to figure out what's right for you. Yeah. Some people are going to go to the media route. Some people are going to go sales route. Some people are going to go marketing route. Some people are going to go more tech route. Some people are going to go more entrepreneurial route. And they're all okay. What's not okay is if you're like, yo, Jamar, you got to learn how to code because that's how you got to make the money. But you hate it and you keep going down it because other people tell you that's what you need to do. So I think you have to really determine, experiment things and see what's right for you. And for the person who's working on the personal brand, what I always tell people, you got to be consistent. How many people you know that come in on LinkedIn hot,
oh man,
and they grow quick and then, a year, 2 years, then they're done. Personal brand is like, I have seen so many people come and go, and most people are like, yo, you're one of the most consistent people. I've seen big creators rise up. And the thing is, if you stay consistent and you stay authentic, when you start doing collaborations, you can do great collaborations. Because there are some people who are big who I could have collaborated with, but I'm like, yo, I don't like how they operate. And there are smaller creators who I love. I was like, yo, let's collab. So I always tell people, get out there, put yourself out there, start collaborating. And the interesting thing is like when I was at the event, I had the least amount of followers, but I think someone said that like, yo, I loved what you had to say because it was the most relatable.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it's those type of things that it's like, it's just amazing because I was on that stage and I met so many people who I knew for years for the first time.
Yeah, it was crazy.
They're like, yo, Janai, let's go. Let's take a picture and all that. And it's crazy. I still see the pictures on the feed somehow.
Yeah.
And then you'll comment and it's like, yo, that's me. That's Janai.
Every once in a while, I'll drop one just going through the archives and I'll just be like, all right, this one's dope.
And you know, it's crazy.
Let me tag everybody again.
It's crazy. Someone else will come and be like, yo, Jamar, I didn't know you know Janai.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we met up. We're about to shoot it up. And that's the power. I think it's like, just be consistent. And what I would say is focus on one platform first.
Okay.
The first platform is the hardest to grow. So don't try to grow TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that at the same time. Because I have a friend who has like 200,000 followers he has 240K LinkedIn, 240K TikTok, and like 180K Instagram. He's actually in Milwaukee, so I'm actually gonna see him tomorrow.
Oh, dope.
Right? He's we do a lot of things together. And how he did it was like, yo, I blew up one platform, and that credibility from that platform goes to the next one, and then that credibility from that one goes to the next one, and then you have like this flywheel effect. But too many people try to spread themselves way too thin, and it's hard enough to learn one platform. To learn another is tough. And then because when I did well on LinkedIn, then I went to Twitter. Even though I had a couple hundred followers, I got on stage like, yo, he got 30K followers. That's the LinkedIn dude. That's the LinkedIn dude. And then now I ended up on Black Twitter. Yeah. Right? I'm the resume guy that people tag me on. They're like, yo, Jedi, you got to talk to him about no degrees or resume. It's like, but again, that LinkedIn credibility. And then people will come from Twitter and be like, yo, he got 300 recommendations.
Right.
So once you start building, people really start respecting it. And it's very hard to be multi-platform.
It is.
And very then hard, people really respect you, and you have a lot more opportunity once you're multi-platform.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Well, thank you so much for just dropping so many gems, man. I feel like people watching and listening are just gonna walk away with some really good stuff. But you got to apply it. You got to apply it. Like that is, I always tell people, the people I have on this show, reach out, get connected to them, but you also got to apply what you're learning. I know only like 5% are actually gonna do it, but you have to apply this stuff, and he just dropped amazing ways. So if you don't have a degree, you know your first steps. If you're trying to build your personal brand, you know your first steps. You know what worked for him, and you know what things you can do. You can start commenting. I mean, you just dropped so many different ways of like. I got
one more.
Go ahead, please.
Funny. So I have a master's degree in actuarial science from Columbia University. So a lot of people don't know I used to be an actuary. And it's funny that since I have nodegree.com, no one scrolls down and they assume I don't have a degree. I don't really talk about it. It's just one of those things, and I kind of have to get it.
I just assume that you did.
Yeah. No, dude, I got immigrant parents. They probably would have killed me if I, So, but my personal brand gets me into rooms that my degree never could. And, right? Like,
whoa, man, say that one more time for me.
Yeah, so my personal brand gets me into rooms that my degree would never get me into.
Man.
I had to end it with that.
That's crazy. It's so true, man. It's so true. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. Where can people find you? How can they get connected?
Yeah, so you'll have it in the show notes, but you can find me on LinkedIn, JONAED.
Yep.
IQBAL. Check out nodegree.com and check out the No Degree podcast on your favorite platform. And, I'm growing on the other platforms. I think on TikTok I have @NoDegree. I got lucky with that. And then, dude, I couldn't get it on Instagram, man. This girl's sitting on it and she's not even using it. But so check those out. And just reach out. Just say you listen to this podcast. I do my best to answer messages. That's something I've always done. I mean, I work 7 days a week, and I'll spend like an hour or two answering messages every day. Yeah. But I really like, that community aspect. That's something I'll never give up.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Like, it's just been incredible. We actually did it, which is, didn't even plan it, but we actually got it done. For everybody watching and listening, please like and comment and subscribe to this podcast. And we want to hear what your thoughts were, what your takeaways are. And just like always, don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life. It's Jamar Jones, and I'm out. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.